Good evening. How many of you have ever been significantly influenced or changed by a film? You know the kind of film I'm talking about. A film so sublime that it takes you to a catharsis, that it leaves you drained in the best way possible as the credits roll. A film that makes you feel like you've drunk 20 years life experience of someone else into your soul. Now I want you to think of that film that affected you. Hold it in your mind and your heart. Think of the way of your experience as you watched it. Did you tell yourself, why aren't more films like this made? Why can't I see more films like this? And today I want to tell you that there are many reasons for that, why so few impactful films are made. And that one of the reasons is because there's an imbalance in society between yin and yang. As a filmmaker, I passionately believe in the power of cinema to give new perspectives, social, spiritual, human perspectives, to inspire people to live better lives, and to help resolve these unresolved problems that we're talking about tonight. And in fact, that's one of the reasons why I have sacrificed so much to be a filmmaker myself. And I want to tell you about one film that has had this kind of impact in trying to resolve unresolved problems. And that is Moonlight from the year 2016. This is a film that beat the odds. It's an independent art house film that beat the odds and won the Oscar for Best Picture. It's about Chiron, a young gay black man, and how the waves of life crash him against the rocks of society, thrashing him again and again, and his efforts to overcome. And the beauty of this film is that it helps give people new perspective about the African American experience. It helps people, it helps to humanize a demographic that sorely needs it. But this film was not only successful artistically, it made $65 million off a $5 million budget, and it is known all around the world. So there are probably a lot of impactful films that force us to look at problems in society. But I hear you asking, how is making impactful films related to yin and yang? Believe it or not, the meaning held in the symbol can help us to make impactful films like Moonlight that can help us resolve unresolved problems in society. This symbol is the yin and yang symbol, the ancient symbol that used by Taoism for over 2,000 years. And in Chinese popular culture, it has a kind of a mystic power to it. In reality, anything needs to find the balance between its yin aspect and its yang aspect to be able to fulfill its potential. And in filmmaking, it's the same way. If we can balance the yin and the yang of a film, then it could have the kind of impact that Moonlight had. In the popular perception, people often connect yin with female and yang with male. But that is actually very incomplete and sometimes incorrect. The best way to think about it is a glass of water, where yin is the water and yang is the glass. In essence, yin, or the dark part of the symbol, is the meaning, is the content, is the purpose of the thing. In this case, the water. We drink a glass of water to quench our thirst. It's the water that does that. And yang, or the light side of the symbol, is the form, or the structure, or the means by which we are able to fulfill that purpose. In this case, the glass. The glass is the means by which we're able to get the water into our body and quench our thirst. But there are two things that we need to remember about yin and yang. First, both yin and yang are necessary. If you have water without a glass, then it's very hard to quench your thirst. Or if you have glass without water, then it's pointless. So we need both the water and the glass. The second thing is there must be a balance between yin and yang. You can have the purest mountain spring water, but if it's in a glass that's cracked and leaking, it won't help you to quench your thirst. On the other hand, you can have a very strong glass, but it's filled with sewer water. That also doesn't fulfill the purpose. And so in every instance, yin needs to be strong and yang needs to be strong. And incidentally, when yin and yang are most often unbalanced, when one side thinks that it is more important than the other side, and that the other side is unnecessary. That is why in the symbol of yin and yang, each side has a dot from the other side in its center. So that each side will remember the purpose and the needs of the other. Now, I want to use this TEDx conference as kind of an illustration of what yin and yang are. The speakers and the performers are yin and the venue is yang, because the purpose of the TEDx conference is to convey ideas. And the speakers are the ones that do that. The venue is the means by which they're able to do that. An example of imbalance may be where the speakers are very effective, but there are sound system problems in the venue and the audience cannot hear or understand what the speakers are saying. In that case, yin is strong and yang is weak. On the other hand, you may have a modern, beautiful venue like this one, but the speakers aren't very good. And so the audience is not able to take anything away from their talks. In that case, yang is strong and yin is weak. And one thing we should also remember is that there is nothing that is inherently yin or yang. It just depends on what it's paired with. For example, let's take a film producer, the person that's in charge of logistical and organizational decisions on a film crew. When they're paired with an investor, they're yin. Paired with a director, they're yang. And I'll explain that in a little bit. And now I want to give you three illustrations of yin and yang in the film world that I will later come back to illustrate how we made our film. So first, in investment. In this case, the producers are yin because they're in charge of the content. They're going to actually make the film. Whereas the investors are yang because they provide the means by which to make the film. On the other hand, in actually making the film, the director would be yin because the director is making the creative decisions. And the producers are the producer is yang because the producers are the ones that are doing the work to fulfill those decisions. So if the director says, I need 10 Lamborghinis in the scene, the producer has to find a way to get those 10 Lamborghinis. And a third example from filmmaking is in order for a film to really achieve success, it has to balance its meaning with its watchability. And what does that mean? The meaning is the thing that the audience takes away with them after they leave the theater, or yin. And the watchability is a film's ability to pull in and attract an audience. That's the yang aspect of it. And now I want to give you a couple examples of two films that may be considered have an imbalance between yin and yang. And no shade on these filmmakers. They are incredible, amazing filmmakers. But this is for illustration purposes only. For example, If Beale Street Could Talk is an amazing film, a beautiful film that helps the viewer to understand more deeply about the African American experience. But how many of you have seen this film? How many of you even heard of this film? Now, another example is Avatar: Way of Water. Last year, it made literally billions of dollars. But, and how many of you have seen this film? You know, yes, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. But how many lives did it change? So if we are able to, we must find a way to balance the meaning of a film with its watchability to be able to have a strong, long-lasting impact on as many viewers as possible. Now, to transition to our film, domestic violence is one of those unresolved problems in society that I believe we're here to address. In a recent study, 2/3 of Vietnamese children were found to have been abused in their home. And this has personal meaning to me because my actress wife, Wing, suffered through domestic abuse through her childhood and now suffers from mental illness. And it severely affected our family as we've tried together to deal with her deep emotional scars throughout the year. We believed in this issue so much that we decided together to make a small independent film called The Brilliant Darkness. In other words, I want to answer the question, why is it that normal shopping mall filmgoers were able to go into a multiplex and see a film about domestic violence and mental illness instead of Avatar 2 or the latest Marvel film? First of all, in finding investment. We knew that The Brilliant Darkness was taking many creative risks and that we needed investors that would allow those creative risks to be taken. And so we knew we wouldn't be able to find investment in the normal way through major film studios or production companies in the industry because they usually decide which films to fund based on statistics, box office numbers, market surveys, etc. And they would correctly view our film as too much of a commercial risk. And so to get around that problem, we asked for smaller investment from many investors outside the industry so that the risk was not too great for any one investor, and that we could have the creative control we needed to be able to make the film. And so in the investment part of the film, the yin aspect and the yang aspects were in balance. Secondly, in making the film, where the director who makes creative decisions is yin, and the producer who makes logistical organizational decisions is yang. And this is a particularly difficult balance to find in filmmaking because the creative and the logistical decisions and needs of a film are so vast and so deep. But as it happens in this film, it was an easy balance to find because I was both producer and director. And so as producer, the producer side of my brain said, okay, we only have a small amount to make this film, a very small budget. And so the director, writer side of my brain said, okay, let's design a story that's contained, that takes place in one location over one night that will fit the budget that we have. And because we were able to balance the creative as well as the logistical needs of the film was able to achieve its artistic potential. Or thirdly, as far as the commercial and critical success of the film, we needed to find a way to balance the meaning and the watchability. And again, this is a particularly difficult balance to find with movies that have a certain social consciousness or have a distinct message, because they will often find that it's hard to be appealing to a mass audience, like Beale Street Could Talk, for instance. And so we knew that if we wanted to achieve our goal of affecting society as much as possible, about raising awareness about domestic violence, trying to start a conversation to resolve this unresolved problem, that we would need to make our film accessible as well as meaningful. And as such, we decided to couch the message of domestic violence and mental illness in a tense thriller genre plot device, which made the film more watchable for a larger audience. And in the end, these strategies were successful, in as much as the film was seen by hundreds of thousands of people in the country, which is not huge, but it is a significant amount. And we were able to start real conversations and make an impact on the conversation about domestic violence and mental illness in Vietnam. In fact, there were many people, and there still are many people, that come up to us after screenings in tears and thank us for making this film, because it helped them and their families start on the road to recovery and healing. And this is the true power of yin and yang. The real power of yin and yang. Through this film, we were able to reach so many people that were suffering. We were able to tell them, I see you. Let us be your voice. Let us tell the world of your suffering, and together we can start to make a change about this difficult, retractable problem. We come to see that good art, by definition, must take creative risks. And a commercial industry that is designed to reduce risk is not conducive to good art. But even though we grossed more than the industry imagined we would, we only broke even. We didn't make a profit. And despite the accolades and the positive reception, we are not now in a position to be able to make another film like this. We have to focus on profitability to be able to engage partners and investors. And granted, this is a time of economic hardship, but that is the reality of the situation. And there is no one set way to be able to depict the yin-yang symbol. But the way I like it depicted is when yin is on top and yang is on the bottom. Because that suggests that yang does not exist for itself. It exists to support and facilitate yang, or support and facilitate yin. And when yang takes its support away, This symbol elegantly suggests and illustrates that yin will dissipate, much as a water will spread out to uselessness if it doesn't have a glass. And thus, we need to find this balance between socially conscious filmmakers and their opportunities to be able to make a film. And how do we do that? I've come up with 4 solutions, and there are probably many more. First of all, to make grants for filmmakers, much as you see in Singapore and Busan International Film Festivals. A Vietnam-specific grant would be wonderful. Secondly, government agencies supporting relevant films that support the mission of the agency, much the same way as the National Fund for Vietnamese Children supported our film, which supports their mission of protecting children. Third, having more creative freedom in making films, especially in making government films. And all of you probably see there's not much you can do with these 3 solutions, which is why the 4th solution is so important. Something you can do, which is watch good movies. Watch socially conscious films that help solve our society's problems, or at least address our society's problems. It is essential that a socially conscious public seek out and, most importantly, watch independent socially conscious films. And I know this is difficult in a market that's oversaturated and noisy, but it is the most effective and immediate way to give these artists the support that they need. And I know that there are still many different problems in society that we must address. And we must be able to use the power of cinema to do the good work that it can do, much as we need both the water and the glass to quench our thirst. We need to balance the yin of socially conscious filmmakers and the yang of their resources and opportunities to be able to make their films. And I believe that if we can enable filmmakers, that we will unleash the power of cinema, and that we will start resolving these retractable and unresolved problems that we're talking about tonight. And each of you can be more conscious in the films that you watch. And in so doing, realize that just by watching the right films, that you can help change the world. Thank you very much.